Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to all of the new people who are watching this. My name is Emily and this channel is That Carnivore Life. I'm excited to talk to you today about a hotly debated topic. Are plants trying to kill us? And are they even safe to eat? Before we jump in, please subscribe to my channel and select the bell to be notified of future uploads. The information I share on my episodes has been gleaned from my own personal health journey over the last 12 years from the specialists that I have been treated by, many of whom are country, if not world recognized leaders, and from my own personal research that I have done to aid in improving my health. I am not formally medically trained, and this is not medical advice. I do hope that what I share in turn helps you to improve your own health or the health of someone that you love. I encourage you to share any of my episodes with anyone that you believe will find help from the information that I share. When I say that plants are trying to kill us, let me clarify what plants are. They are fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, and seeds, and anything that comes from them, such as butters, milks, and oils. People are claiming that plants are trying to kill us and that we shouldn't eat them. They include the deceitful names that manufacturers often use, such as natural flavors. For example, soy milk, peanut butter, and LaCroix. You might think a natural flavor is fine to consume, but if I drink LaCroix, who use natural flavors, I get very, very sick. Yet, if I drink Spindrift, I am 100% okay. They do not use natural flavors. They use fresh squeezed fruit. A number of months ago, I thought these people making these claims were a little bit eccentric, a little bit over the top. More recently, I've been thinking that they aren't too far from the truth, especially when taking FODMAPs into consideration. Now, after researching for this episode, I actually think these people have a point, and to be honest, I kind of agree with them. If you would like to know a little bit more about FODMAPs, I actually have an entire episode dedicated to them, and I'll include the link in the episode description below of this vlog. Today, I present to you why my viewpoint on this topic has changed to one of agreement. And I hope that you would do your own research into this topic like I have and not just blindly accept anything that I say regarding it. Now I present to you the information that I have found thus far, and I'll let you draw your own conclusions. There are a number of different types of issues that a human can have with food, and the ones that I'm including today, I don't think that this is an exhaustive list. The first is FODMAPs. The thing is with FODMAPs, it's not just one issue, it's actually 5 issues. FODMAPs is made up of fructose, fructans, galacto-oligosaccharides, polyols, and lactose. Fructose is found in things that we are told are healthy for us and good for us to consume. Things like honey, agave, and apples. Fructans is found in foods touted for their health properties. Things such as garlic. It's also found in onion and in wheat. Wheat is in most breakfast cereals and bakery products, so grains, and we're told to consume a lot of those, apparently for our health. Lactose is found in dairy. Yes, dairy is carnivore, I know. For more information on dairy, in light of it being a FODMAP, please check out the episode I've done on dairy. I'll include the link in this episode's description down below. Galacto-oligosaccharides, often referred to GOS or GOS, they are found in legumes and in beans. Polyols are found in sugar-free products, which are supposed to be good for us, in mushrooms, in cauliflower, in watermelon, as well as fruits that have seeds. Apples, pears, cherries, and actually also in blackberries, but not in the other berries. These lists of foods in all of those 5 categories are just examples. Each category has at least 10, if not more, foods that cause problems. For example, sorbitol is found in avocados. So this is just an example. This is not an exhaustive list of food in those categories. If you have an issue with one of the 5 FODMAPs, you can expect to experience some or all of these symptoms: gas, bloating, intestinal pain, nausea, vomiting, constipation, diarrhea, brain fog, poor concentration, poor sleep, hives, skin rashes, itchy eyes. exhaustion, hot and cold flushes. The thing with FODMAPs, the more you eat, the worse the reaction. And because these FODMAPs are found in foods that are touted to be healthy, we're actually told to eat a lot of them, which can be a very big problem because then those symptoms can get very, very severe. These symptoms can take anywhere up to 3 days to appear and can take several weeks for them to subside once no more FODMAPs are consumed. The next food issue is nightshades. Symptoms of nightshade issues would include heartburn, bloating, gas, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, hives, skin rashes, itchy eyes, and excessive mucus. Some examples of foods that are nightshades would be eggplants, tomatoes, peppers, or some of you might know those as capsicums, potatoes, tomatillos, tobacco, and avocado. That's twice now we've come across avocado, and we're just in the second section. Nightshades is an alkaloid, which is a solanine. Solanine functions as an insecticide whilst the plant is growing. Eating too much of solanine, so eating too much of an insecticide, can make you feel bad. Well, I think we all know that if we consume insecticide, it's a problem. Many of us think that insecticide is in a container with big warnings that it's poison and don't drink it. And you thought plants weren't trying to kill you. We as humans use insecticide to destroy insects and small rodents trying to consume our produce, our fruits and our vegetables, our plants. This is exactly what a nightshade plant is doing when it is creating the solanine, the insecticide, as it grows to protect itself from being consumed. That's from anything consuming it, big or small, fly, rat, human. So if we eat these nightshades, whether we react to them or not, we are consuming an insecticide. That for me is a little bit shocking. Then there is the histamine intolerance. What I didn't know, and I learned while researching for this episode, is that if you are somebody who has Crohn's disease, you are at risk of having a histamine intolerance. As fantastic as my gastroenterologist is, I don't think I've ever heard him tell me this. The other risk factors for developing a histamine intolerance include GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, liver conditions, chronic and extreme stress, injury, trauma, and imbalance to gut microbiome. There are a whole lot of medications which negatively impact the body's ability to break down histamines. Some of these medications are for the heart, some are for depression, some are for pain, some are for muscles, and some are for GI issues, gastrointestinal issues. This means that if you're consuming one of these types of medications, you will probably not be able to tolerate histamines. The types of foods which cause a histamine reaction or a histamine intolerance include alcohol and fermented beverage, including dairy products. So kefir, yogurt, they would be a couple of those. Dried fruits, avocados, eggplants, processed and smoked meats, shellfish, pickled foods, fermented soy products, fermented grains such as sourdough, tomatoes, spinach, frozen, salted or canned fish, vinegar and ketchup. Also, slow cooked foods such as soups, stocks, meats can also have a high histamine level, meaning that if you're not tolerating histamines, you're going to have issues. However, you can cook meat fast, you can cook soups or stocks in a short period of time, and that histamine issue won't be present. You cannot do that with the plants where histamines are present, such as tomatoes. The signs of a histamine issue can be headaches or migraines, nasal congestion or sinus issues, fatigue issues, hives, digestive issues, for women, irregular menstrual cycles, and also nausea and vomiting. We can also have allergies. I'm sure you're really familiar with peanut or egg allergies. There's also soy and mango sap. You can be anaphylaxis to mango sap. These types of allergies are referring to an anaphylaxis response or similar. Most of what we've talked about has not been an anaphylaxis response thus far. Also to be included in allergies are two dairy proteins, casein and whey. These are discussed in the previous episode on dairy. Again, I've linked that below. And whilst casein and whey are dairy, which is carnivore, and they're not a plant, I wanted to include them in the allergy section because whilst this is a case for if plants are trying to kill us. I want to show that whilst I am choosing personally to eat carnivore, I don't have blinkers on. I will look at everything as a whole. And that's why in histamines, I included some of the carnivore foods in there. And that's why in allergies, I've also included some of the carnivore foods in there. I want to look at the whole picture and not have a narrow-minded, biased viewpoint. And I hope that is helpful for you as viewers of the content that I'm sharing. The next issue we can experience with plants is a gluten issue. You will probably be aware of people termed as celiacs, but you can also have a gluten sensitivity or a gluten intolerance. Gluten is found in wheat and in many grains. Possible symptoms of an issue with gluten includes diarrhea, constipation, smelly poop, fatigue, skin reactions. These can include little bumps on your arms, depression, anxiety, weight loss, low iron, autoimmune disorders, joint and muscular pain, and also bloating. There are also many who have issues with caffeine. I am one of them. If I consume caffeine within 4 hours, I will be in what I term as a semi-comatose state for the following 12 hours. I know that sounds a bit like a drama queen. The last time I had coffee, I had a cold drip. It was a small amount. It was on my 30th birthday, and one of my super close friends was taking me into the city for New Year's Eve, that's when my birthday is, to see fireworks for the first time to celebrate my birthday, but my 30th birthday. So I had a coffee in the morning. By the time I got to her house in the evening, she said, "Are you okay? Are you sure you want to go?" I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And she's like, "No, really, I'm actually really worried about you. You're not driving." And it wasn't the plan for me to drive anyway, but she really nailed it home. And this is not me being a drama queen. This is actually what happens. Now, coffee is a stimulant. For example, if you are experiencing anxiety and you consume caffeine, it's going to ramp that anxiety in overdrive. Therefore, if you are experiencing gut pain, caffeine is going to stimulate that gut pain and increase it. Caffeine is also a banned substance in competitions due to its stimulating properties. Caffeine causes a rush and a crash. Signs of issues with caffeine: a racing heartbeat, headache, jitters, nervous or anxious, restlessness, and insomnia. The next food issue I want to mention is salicylates. This is a chemical made by plants. It's found in fruits and vegetables, and it's used by them to defend themselves. Salicylate extracts are used in medicines, things to help relieve pain such as aspirin. But this is an extract only. It is not the whole plant in context and the whole plant working together as a whole. It is an extract of. It is different. For many, salicylates can lead to problems like insensitivities, allergies, and swelling of different organs. Salicylates can even cause anaphylaxis. I want to re-clarify. Salicylates is a chemical made by plants found in fruits and vegetables to defend themselves. The fruits and vegetables, we are told, are healthy for us and to consume a good amount of them. An example of foods which contain salicylates: blueberries. These are claimed as a superfood. Apples, avocados, also claimed as a superfood and safe on basically any recommended diet. Mushrooms, cauliflower, coffee, and pine nuts. Symptoms of issues with salicylates can include itching and hives, swelling of hands and feet, nasal congestion, headaches, stomach pain, and diarrhea. We can also have issues with amines. Symptoms of this include headaches, migraines, nasal congestion, hives, fatigue, nausea, vomiting, respiratory issues, tachycardia, hypo, and hypertension. While seemingly harmless for many people, when consumed in large volumes or by people with sensitivities or who become sensitive to it, they can cause a range of problematic symptoms. These symptoms can include an increase in cardiac output and constriction in blood vessels in the heart, which can cause migraines. Foods containing amines in problematic amounts include all of the nuts, foods which soften as they ripen, such as bananas or avocados. There's avocados again. Tomatoes, aged cheese, mushrooms, and Japanese seaweed sauces. Another possible food issue is sulfites. The reaction to sulfites affect breathing, skin reactions such as hives, digestive problems, abdominal pain, diarrhea, anxiety, paleness, weakness, and asthma. People deficient in sulfite dioxide, an enzyme needed to metabolize and detoxify sulfites, are at risk. Quite a big risk, actually. This risk can actually result in a fatality. Foods containing sulfites are bottled lemon and lime juice, dried fruits, but not dark raisins and not prunes, grape juices, including sparkling varieties, molasses, pickled cocktail onions, sauerkraut, including its juice, wine, peanuts, eggs, black tea, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, kale. Isn't kale a superfood? Garlic, onions, chives, and leeks. We can also have inflammatory issues, conditions resulting from inflammation. So things like asthma, rheumatoid arthritis, type 2 diabetes, psoriasis, IBDs like Crohn's and colitis, obesity, autoimmune issues, non-alcoholic fatty liver, Alzheimer's, COPD. These are to name a few. Foods which negatively affect inflammation can include fried food, including fries, soda, and sugar-sweetened beverages, margarine, shortening, gluten, all processed foods, corn chips, sugar, and white rice. And the last one I'm going to include today is sugar. Sugar is also a carbohydrate. Fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, and seeds are all carbohydrates, and carbohydrates turn to sugar basically immediately upon entering the body. They are classified as a sugar. Sugar is highly addictive, more so than cocaine, and these sugar-free sugars that are out there, they come from plants. They might be 0 calories, but our body receives them as a sugar. Taste, texture, reactions, even though they are 0 calories, and even so, they give slightly different reactions, which is why diabetics are advised to consume sugar-free sugars. They are very similar as a sugar, and they come from a plant, and a plant is sugar, so they are actually still a sugar. The only way to be sugar-free is to consume something that doesn't contain sugar in any form and doesn't turn to sugar, such as water, meat, eggs. Sugar triggers anxiety and depression. It actually causes it in most cases. Sugar causes highs and crashes, or highs and lows. The withdrawals from sugar are insane. It affects moods, it affects sleep, causes headaches and joint pain. It gives symptoms similar to the flu. I find it really interesting that avocados, which are supposed to be a superfood and really good for us and are accepted on basically any diet we could be placed on, are found to contain most of the things that we can have an issue with when it comes to plants. Today, I've given you a list, a very long list of issues that we can have when it comes to consuming plants. So fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, and seeds, and their byproducts. You can see by that there are very little plants left that are apparently safe for us to consume. Not even kale is safe. We also have to consider which foods individuals may be allergic to, whether that is an anaphylaxis reaction or whether it's just what is referred to as an allergy. For example, I have an allergy to many things, most of which I can't remember. Didn't include seafood, did include eggs, which you'd be surprised I've stopped consuming. Again, most of the allergies were in the plant family. None of those allergies are anaphylaxis. So that's what I mean when I say we also then have to consider individual people's individual allergies, whether anaphylaxis or not. Then we have to consider that people may have an issue with fiber. You think we need fiber to survive? Well, a Crohn's patient is going to be advised not to consume fiber, especially when their Crohn's is very active or active in general. The fiber can get stuck and it can cause them to need immediate life-saving surgery. So if you're someone who has, for example, Crohn's and you want to consume a plant that wasn't previously listed in today's discussion and you Google it and find that it's not in any of those categories, you still can't consume it because it's fiber. Many of the food issues we can possibly experience discussed today have very similar symptoms. Thinking out loud, I wonder if these symptoms are our body's way of telling us we have consumed something that we shouldn't. Yes, it does make it then hard at times to identify what has actually caused our issue. That's why many people will turn to the extreme of something like carnivore and get their health under control and then try a food back in isolation rather than trying everything all at once. This is what is referred to as an elimination diet. After looking at all the different food issues in today's episode, aside from FODMAPs, it's clear to me that plants are trying to defend themselves in various ways. And this has a negative result on a person's health. The difference between a cow defending itself and a plant defending itself is that the plant's defense is often slow and often long-term. Even poison ivy, it is more acute and immediate, but it's long-lasting. Someone may live to be 100 years old consuming plants. They'll have experienced fatigue at some point, probably muscle pain. They might experience something like arthritis, maybe even low-key dementia. They might have experienced bloating and flatulence, but just assumed it's aging, or just assumed that it's a little bit of gas. It hasn't altered their quality of life enough for them to look into it further or to make changes. That doesn't mean that they were not being negatively affected, or as what some people like to call poisoned by plants. However, others like myself, Michaelia Peterson, Callie Hogan, are so affected that we're struggling or we're failing to live, let alone thrive. And we need to make drastic changes to our lives in order to actually live. Carnivore is a way that many of us choose to do that. Do you still think that plants are not trying to kill us? I can sit down and eat a steak that is this big, from the tips of my fingers to underneath my thumbs and from my wrist to my wrist. That's a pretty decent steak. I'm talking like an inch thick. I can sit down and eat the whole thing and feel 100% cooked with ghee, cooked with salt. Feel amazing. I know that's not a plant. If I consume something with wheat in it, I get nausea, bloating, liquid number 2s, I get stomach pain, suicidal ideation thoughts as in, I don't want to be alive anymore if this is what my life is going to be like. I experience hot and cold flushes, I experience shakes or jitters, and brain fog. And these are just a few of the things that I experience if I consume wheat. I get similar symptoms, not quite as severe, if I consume legumes. If I eat watermelon, even the amount of watermelon the size of my nail, within literally 1 to 3 minutes, I have intense abdominal gut pain and I need to find a bathroom almost immediately for liquid number 2s. If I consume soup, stocks, or slow cooked foods, I get extreme tiredness. Even halfway through consuming the meal, I get hot flushes and I need liquid number 2s like no man's business. And I also get tremors. If I consume onion, I have a similar result to wheat. If I consume champagne and some other alcohols, I will have a reaction that's 10 times worse than the consumption of wheat. If I consume hot chocolate or matcha not made by myself, even without sugar, I have extreme gut pain, bloating, sweats, hot flushes, and liquid number 2s. If I consume natural flavors in something like a sparkling water, I get results similar to that of motion sickness. If I consume dark chocolate, even that is dairy and sugar-free, I get bloating and discomfort. If I consume an acai bowl that's gluten-free and without sugar and without dairy, I enjoy it in the moment, then I get extremely tired, I get brain fog, and within about 2 to 4 hours, I have liquid number 2s. If I consume agave, I have extreme abdominal pain and liquid number 2s. If I consume gluten-free breads, I get a mild case of lethargy. I get a mild case of brain fog. My motivation, that will decrease and decrease and decrease the longer I continue consuming gluten-free bread products. So it's not that noticeable on day 1. But if over a week I have a gluten-free bread 3, 4, or 5 times, maybe continue that into week 2, the longer I continue to do that, the worse my motivation becomes. These are just a few of the plants that I react to. Some of the reactions I get are quite acute and quite severe. Yet some of the reactions that I get are barely noticeable, but they do drag on for really long periods of time. It's really obvious to me to cease consuming plants or foods that really negatively affect my life. You know, someone who's got a peanut allergy and is anaphylaxis, it's pretty obvious to them to avoid consuming peanuts. There are some foods though that have a very small effect on me. They really don't affect my quality of life all that much. Many people would say, still consume them. They say they could never give them up. However, I want to be at 100% or as close to 100% as I can. I don't want to feel negatively affected in any way. I want to be on top of my game or as on top of my game extreme as I can be. That's why I've chosen my diet to be carnivore, because it doesn't include any of the foods that I get any form of negative reaction to. If you're thinking that you might have an issue with one of these possible food complications that I have mentioned today, I would suggest that you try carnivore as an elimination diet for 30 to 60 days before you start testing a food in isolation of other foods. Just see what happens. However, do your research before you just jump straight in and make sure you seek medical advice. Please be aware though, there are plenty medical professionals who will think you're nuts. They haven't looked into nutrition. It is widely known that most of the medical professionals have a week, if they're lucky, maybe a month on nutrition, and it's based off flawed studies such as Dr. Ansel Keys' 7-country study, which was originally a 21-country study. And his study has been proven debunked and flawed. These are things to take into consideration. If this is something that you want to do, definitely do your research. Look at the information that comes from many qualified doctors, such as Dr. Sean Baker, Dr. Ken Berry, and Dr. Anthony Shafee. All three of them have formal medical training and have looked into and researched nutrition over millennia, centuries, decades, whatever you want to call it, including carnivore as their lifestyle, but also that of their patients, and are seeing fantastic results. Then there are others with great content, such as Kelly Hogan and Bella from Steak and Butter Girl. So what I'm saying is, I would recommend you to try carnivore if you're having issues. Try it as an elimination diet, but do your research. See if you can find somebody who works in functional medicine or a doctor who looks at low carb, high fat, that they don't need to be a carnivore advocate for you to source information from them. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'd love for you to like this episode, subscribe to my channel, select the bell to be notified of future uploads, but please also go find me on Instagram and follow me there. My Instagram is THATCARNIVORELIFE.GRAM. I hope that you have found something helpful in this episode today. Good luck on your journey to improving your health. If you are somebody who is on carnivore or who has switched or is switching to carnivore as a result of some of my content, I would love to hear from you and how you're going in your journey. Thank you for viewing my content. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time. That's all from That Carnivore Life. Bye.